Wednesday, May 4th. You're listening to Weather with Enthusiasm. The St. Louis, Missouri area is about to have one of the most inspirational weather patterns. And this is really an inspirational moment in the St. Louis area over the next upcoming week. The only thing that could be more inspirational than this is for the heat wave next week to just continue as it did in the year 1994, at least to continue to the point where there's no end to the heat in sight within the 7-day forecast cycle. I don't know if it's going to do that or not. We have a heat wave, a full force heat wave headed for the St. Louis area next week, Monday through Wednesday. Thank you, audience, for that. Monday through Wednesday of next week, we have a full force heat wave. This is a blocking pattern. This is the exact opposite of the pattern we have right now here in the country. We're a very active weather pattern. Some meteorologists are using the word insane. The weather pattern this week is insane. I would say that what's also insane is the fact that this weather pattern is turning over. It's doing a 180, mamish, a 180. It's turning into a pattern that doesn't move. It won't move next week. It's a blocking pattern, and a heat wave is going to develop underneath it. And I'll tell you another tremendous chiddush over here, a big shockaroo. If you haven't heard my other podcast, this is going to be a big shockaroo. And for those familiar with dew points are going up into the lower, mid, and even upper 70s in the Midwest. We're talking St. Louis, Missouri, 72, 73 degrees. Classic July heat wave, a classic July dew point. That is weird. That's weird. That's not normal. Even when we get unseasonable heat this time of the year in the St. Louis area, it doesn't come with the package of a 70-degree dew point. Now, that's what the European computer model says, that the heat is coming with that package of a 70-degree dew point. What that means is that if it was a dry heat, the temperatures would be well over 100 degrees. That's really what it means. And how often do we have 100-degree heat in May? Usually we don't have such high humidity in May, and therefore temperatures are record heat makes it into the 90s because we don't have high humidity. But in this case, we're getting high humidity, and temperatures are still forecast to go into the low 90s in the St. Louis metropolitan area. Here's the thing. If temperatures are going into the low 90s across the St. Louis area, the official recording station, unless they fixed it up, the official recording station is going into the mid 90s. That's, I figure, the models say it's 77 degrees, 5,000 feet above the surface. That translates to 91 degrees this time of the year, 6 feet above the surface. But I think in the official recording station, we'll have temperatures probably closer to 94 degrees next week, at least at the peak heating. This is a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday event. Remember, the Blackberry Winter visits St. Louis every year around May 11th. Channel 2 meteorologist Dave Murray, KTVI, he's retired. I think he moved to Hawaii, but he used to call it maybe it's the mulberry. It's probably not blackberry. It's probably some other berry. But what happens is the final push of cold air comes around May 11th. And after that, there's this berry that blooms. It might not be a blackberry. It might be some other type of berry, but it blooms. That happens around May 11th. So what are we going to have next week? Because we have the heat wave coming. For real, a real heat wave. St. Louis is not even in a Suffolk area. It's not in any type of a Dowd area. There's clarity. Chicago is as complex. It has the regular complexities in regards to the extreme heat or the real summer, the real heat of 90 degrees. But it will reach the 80s. Of course, there might be a lake pneumonia cold front that comes in the afternoon and ruins it. And that's not even funny, really. But that's what happens in Chicago. In Chicago, you could see on the people in St. Louis, they see high temperature in Chicago today was 93 degrees. And you call up someone a friend in Chicago, and they have their winter coat on, and it's in the 40s. And they say, sure, it was 93 degrees. That was at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But then a wind came in off the 46-degree water temperature lake, and temperatures dropped to 46 degrees. So the National Weather Service says if that happens next week, it's happening on Monday and Wednesday, but probably not Tuesday. I don't know the svara behind that. I don't know the logic behind why usually as as the storm system, as the heat wave comes to an end, it comes to an end, at least this time of the year, with an approaching storm system, with an approaching cold front. And while that storm system approaches, the winds really pick up out of the southwest. So one would think that the chances for a lake breeze should get less and less each day we go into this. But yet, that's not what they are saying. They're saying a lake breeze might develop Monday. That makes sense. And then Tuesday, it won't. Fine. But if it won't on Tuesday, why is it going to develop Wednesday? So maybe we're already going to be too close to some type of a front. I don't really know. Now, until we get to Monday, I know there's a lot of people in St. Louis that love hot and humid weather. A lot of people hate it. But the people who hate it just have moved out. Probably moved out, right? The people who hate it moved to Chicago, by the way. But anyways, you have Monday through Wednesday, heat and humidity builds in the St. Louis area, and you have temperatures going into the low 90s. Heat index actually will be 100 degrees. And there's higher confidence in next week's forecast than this week's forecast. They don't know what's happening for Shabbos, for Saturday. They don't know what's happening. They just know it's going to be below normal. But whether it's going to be 5 degrees below normal, 10 degrees below normal, or 15 degrees below normal, that has uncertainty. That remains a suffix, uncertainty. Suffix means uncertainty. But for next week, the low 90s or warmer is a vadai. That's for sure. You know, everything in weather for sure means 80%. I don't like going higher than 80% because nothing's ever for sure, right? But you could always get some thunderstorms. Something could mess it up. But that's what we have going on this week. Until then, we have some complexes of thunderstorms, which could be severe. That's happening tonight into tomorrow and over the next 30 hours or so. But realize in central Missouri, that's the highest chance for severe weather. And I'll tell you why. Because the thunderstorm complexes are going to be affecting St. Louis already by tomorrow morning. Then it looks like the precipitation is going to stop for a few hours. Things are going to heat up. And then the thunderstorms redevelop in the evening. But in Columbia, Missouri, perhaps, central Missouri, it's not just the precipitations are going to stop for a few hours. The thunderstorm activity, all of that's going to be, it's going to stop for many hours. So there's going to be a lot more instability by the time the thunderstorms redevelop. So the severe weather, there's a higher chance for it in central Missouri. There's a higher chance for thunderstorms in central Missouri. In terms of excessive rainfall, a widespread 1 to 2 inches is what guidance shows. But I know a lot of the meteorologists feel that there could be 3 inches or maybe even more. When you go into southwest Missouri, 3 to 5 inches. They're already getting heavy downpours today associated with the warm front. Then they have the dry line. They have everything going on over there. Baseball-sized hail is a possibility along with hurricane-force wind gusts. You know, and 3 to 5 inches. Some area, the bullseye, 6 to 9 inches. Could you imagine that? 6 to 9 inches. Imagine that as snow, 60 to 90 inches of snow. In Chicago, on average, meteorologist Tom Skilling says the snow-to-water ratio is 12 to 1. That would mean 108 inches of snow. This is unbelievable stuff. Anyways, you know, I think that brings this podcast to an end. Remember, however bad it is, people who don't like the heat, people who don't like the heat, okay, that's one thing. In India, it's really, really intense. It's super dangerous stuff. What's going on in India right now is just super dangerous. It's unlivable. Unbearable heat is across the country, India right now, many cities. There's been a little bit of relief over the past couple of days, but with that, there's also been some humidity. There's barely any wind over there. The surface temperatures are 60 degrees Celsius. So think of it like this, 50 degrees, 40 degrees Celsius is 104 degrees, 45 degrees, 113, 50 is 122 degrees. So it's 140 degrees. And they're saying actually 143 degrees Fahrenheit for the surface temperatures. That's the surface. That's not the air temperatures. The air temperatures are less than that. According to the Alexa which gets her weather from AccuWeather, it was 130 degrees in India a couple days ago. But that was not the official reading. Official readings remain in the lower 120s to mid 120s. We do have cities with temperatures forecasted temperatures in the mid 120s, maybe even higher than that. And we're dealing with this place where very few people have air conditioning. Not only that, even those that do have air conditioning, there's many blackouts right now in the country. There's also the visibility is 5 miles or less due to pollution, smoke. You can see pictures of people just lying down underneath bridges, and it's really a very intense, deadly heat situation over there. So, the St. Louis heat advisory, the classic St. Louis heat advisory, doesn't hold a candlestick to India's heat. It's almost like it's a healthy 90 degrees in St. Louis. A healthy get out and sweat, and because in India you want to feel deadly heat. That's in India, but officially deadly is 105 degree heat index or higher in many locations. Out in Phoenix, Arizona, they issue a heat advisory in July when temperatures are 110 degrees or higher. Thank you for listening. I wish everybody a good night and enjoy the weather.